Hello, my name is Fion and today I'm going to be talking about the importance of policing and their use of firearms. Policing can be defined as the civil force of a state responsible for the prevention and detection of crime and the maintenance of public order. It is very hard to imagine our lives without the police, as they have always been around since we have been alive. And as you all know, they are used to keep the public safe from criminals and are always happy to help. The police obviously have the authority to use certain weapons, but they are only to be used as a form of protection. However, this is not the case for the public. In order to protect yourself with a weapon, the choice itself is very limited as it's controlled by the strict UK laws which govern offensive and dangerous weapons. You cannot walk around with a 10-inch machete strapped to your back and a handgun or any other weapon for that matter, even if you say it's just for self-defense. Within the UK, each force has some form of armed response unit and firearm unit, who are both teams of armed police officers tasked with countering crimes committed by armed criminals. The Metropolitan Police Service, based in London, is the most prominent firearm unit in the UK. The Police Commissioner plays a key role in armed forces as they are there to designate, organise and equip all firearm units based as everything needed is dependent unit, so is based on each constable's own budget. Depending on constabulary, police firearms units may be called the Tactical Firearm Unit, Firearm Support Unit, Specialist Armed Response Unit, or Tactical Aid Group. Firstly, there is the Authorised Firearms Officers, also known as AFOs. AFOs are British police officers who are specifically trained in the use of firearms and have the authority to use and carry firearms on duty. However, they must only be given when necessary. AFOs undergo a certain amount of training and are given a basic level of firearms training, which is using core weapon skills in defensive attacks. The level of training required is typically focused on whatever pistol their unit uses. For example, the Glock 17 is incredibly common with AFO units. The type of roles that an AFO may perform include armed response vehicle officers, specialist firearm officers, close protection officers, personal protection officers, and tactical support officers. An AFO is called for under two classifications, which are when a spontaneous incident has happened or an authorised one, such as a pre-planned operation to investigate a drug lord's house. Secondly is the armed response vehicles, which are also known as ARV officers, and are used to respond to spontaneous firearm incidents. In most cases, they usually carry out mobile patrols in vehicles, typically a BMW X5, in order to get to the incident as soon as possible when needed. ARV AFOs will typically always have a self-loading pistol such as the Glock 17 on their person. They will also have access to long arms such as the H&K MP5SF and H&K G36C carbines, which are stored securely in the vehicle. Training for an ARV includes advanced driving, performing stop and search of a suspect vehicles, and containment of a vehicle or building. Lastly, there is the Specialist Firearms Officers, also known as SFOs, and these are used to carry out pre-planned operations against criminals who are suspected of being in possession of firearms. SFOs have a significant amount of training at a much higher level and are usually in the ARV units for several years before they can even become an SFO. Before becoming an SFO, they are trained to enter property successfully with the use of battering rams and other tools. As well as this, they will also be trained on how to use stun grenades and tear gas. Their kit includes handcuffs, first aid kit, secure radio, ammo pouches, a pistol, stun grenades, and CS tear gas grenades. They will also have tools for making dynamic entry, such as crowbars and sledgehammers. Aside from the primary and secondary weapon, a taser and pepper spray may be carried. As well as this, the front man will also have shields, which will be carried to point man in a team. Now, as you can see, there are plenty of weapons used for the police. Now, the most common firearms employed by the British armed units are the Glock 17, the Heckler and Koch, and the MP5SF carbine. Now, these are all used for different units, but are always used within the armed forces for things such as riots, like the Brixton riots, and terrorist attack or a threat of a terrorist attack. Now, as you can see, this is a very important topic to discuss, as the main purpose of all these forces, including the police officers, are used to protect the public from any harm that may be happening. The armed forces have become much more important to society because of recent terrorist attacks. Because of these incidents, many more people are talking about the British Armed Forces and are seeing the benefits of having them around. I hope you have learnt more about the British Armed Forces and that this information was helpful. Thanks for watching. Fionn Evans, 904196. Goodbye.